The Young and the Restless. Why spoilers reveal that characters find themselves facing some health drama. Some shocking moments are ahead on the CBS soap, so we should consider some big twists and major consequences. Based on the story developments that the show's setting up, 3 medical emergencies could be looming. Some familiar faces could land in crisis mode, so let's talk about which characters will be affected and how they might end up in distress. 1. Nick's overdose drama? In YNR's March 12th episode, Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, shared some drug-related warning signs regarding Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, with Noah Newman, Lucas Adams. Drug addiction is something Sienna's seen for herself and her brother, who died of an overdose. There's a good chance Nick could be headed for an overdose of his own now that he's getting hooked on fentanyl. Will Nick be rushed to the hospital once his drug issues worsen down the road? 2. Matt's life-threatening final face-off? Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, is another character who could be headed for a life-threatening situation. Will Matt face a grim fate after the showdown that's brewing with Nick and Adam Newman, Mark Grossman? Matt's medical emergency could prove to be a fatal one if the show decides the character needs a permanent ending. Perhaps Matt could get a grisly send-off that haunts Adam if wipes Matt off the map to protect Nick. 3. Connor spins out over broken family? Adam's about to get tangled up in some Vegas horror that could change him and draw him towards some of his more sinister impulses. By the time Adam returns to Genoa City, he may not feel like he's the same man Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan, recommitted to. Adam loves his family more than anything, but that love could cause him to push Chelsea and Connor Newman, Judah Mackey, away. If Adam doesn't think he can be a good partner or father anymore, he may tear his family apart with devastating results. If that's the case, Connor's OCD could flare up and cause him to spin out in ways that cause harm. It could force Connor into more intensive treatment again, so Adam and Chelsea will have to proceed with caution if their relationship crumbles. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some shockers and shakeups are still to come, so stick with us for all the alarming news and emergencies that might be in store. The drama in Genoa City is never just about boardroom takeovers and romantic entanglements. Sometimes, the most compelling stories are matters of life and death. As we move deeper into 2026, The Young and the Restless is heating up the screen with the promise of high-stakes health scares that could leave several familiar faces fighting for their lives. From the depths of addiction to violent confrontations and fragile mental states, the canvas is painted with the potential for disaster. While the Abbott and Newman families continue their eternal war for control of the city's corporate landscape, the upcoming weeks suggest that the real battles will be fought in hospital rooms and intensive care units. Here are 3 characters who appear to be on a collision course with medical emergencies that will throw them and their loved ones into complete crisis mode. 1. Nick Newman, a fentanyl nightmare. Perhaps the most alarming and timely storyline involves Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow. For months, viewers have watched Nick struggle with the aftermath of intense trauma, but recent episodes have taken a dark turn into the realm of substance abuse. In the March 12th episode, a chilling warning was issued by Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, who shared the heartbreaking story of her own brother's death from a drug overdose with Nick's son, Noah Newman, Lucas Adams. Sienna recognized the signs of addiction, and her concern was directed squarely at Nick. Spoilers now suggest that Nick's dabbling with painkillers could escalate into a full-blown, life-threatening crisis. The drug in question? Fentanyl. This is not a simple case of taking a few too many pills. Fentanyl is an opioid so potent that even a tiny, miscalculated dose can be lethal. For a character who has always been portrayed as the good Newman, the level-headed, moral center compared to his siblings Adam and Victoria, this storyline represents a dramatic and risky fall from grace. The narrative is ripe for a devastating medical emergency. If Nick were to overdose, it would send shockwaves through the entire Newman clan. Victor Newman, Eric Braden, would be forced to confront the terrifying possibility of outliving his son, a fear no parent should ever face. Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, herself a recovering alcoholic with a history of battling her own demons, would be thrust into a nightmare of guilt and desperation, watching her child succumb to the same kind of destructive escape she knows all too well. An overdose scenario would also serve as a horrific wake-up call for the entire family. It would pull Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, back into the fold in a major way as the mother of Nick's children and his eternal confidant. It could also create a rift between Nick and his siblings, particularly Adam, who might blame himself if he was distracted by his own chaotic life in Vegas and failed to see the warning signs. The medical emergency wouldn't just be about saving Nick's life in the immediate term, it would be about the long, painful road to recovery. Will the writers use this as a powerful message about the opioid crisis, showing Nick hitting rock bottom before he can rebuild? Or will the overdose be fatal, robbing Genoa City of one of its most beloved leading men? For now, the spoilers point to a good chance that Nick is headed for a terrifying physical collapse that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. 2. Matt Clark, a fatal face-off. While Nick's crisis would likely be an accident stemming from internal demons, another character appears to be heading toward a medical emergency that is far more deliberate and violent. Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, is a man whose presence in Genoa City has always been shrouded in mystery and menace. As the tension escalates between him, Nick, and Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, spoilers indicate that a showdown is brewing, and it could have lethal consequences. Matt's medical emergency might not come in the form of an illness, but rather a traumatic injury sustained during a conflict. The speculation is that this confrontation could turn so ugly that it results in a permanent, grim fate for the character. Given the high emotions and the Newman brothers' tendency to protect their family at all costs, the situation could spiral out of control rapidly. Imagine a scenario where Matt corners Nick, possibly to exploit his vulnerable, drug-addled state. Adam, always the wild card with a fierce loyalty to his family despite their turbulent history, might intervene. In the heat of the moment, a struggle ensues, leading to a catastrophic injury, perhaps a fall, a blunt force trauma, or a wound that leads to massive hemorrhaging. Adam has spent years trying to escape his reputation as a killer, dating back to the alleged death of Delia Abbott and the real death of A.J. Montalvo. If Matt were to die as a result of Adam's actions, even in defense of his brother, it would resurrect every ghost Adam has tried to bury. The medical emergency would then become a forensic one. The paramedics rushing to the scene would be the least of everyone's worries. The real crisis would be the cover-up, the investigation, and the moral dilemma of whether Adam should face the music or if the family should circle